My best advice is brought to you by Mims Ukes. It's where I buy my ukuleles. Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I love advice. I love getting advice. I love hearing people's stories about the advice that they've received. I love reading quotes about it. I love being on Facebook and seeing, someone quoting Einstein with something that he never actually said. Give me a good meme with advice on it any day of the week and I'm a happy man. So when I decided to do a podcast, something I've wanted to do for a while, this seemed like something I'd enjoy talking to people about. So here we are. I'm your host, Mike, and this is my best advice. Today's guest, my first guest, is my darling friend Tina, who is one of my oldest ukulele friends. She's actually one of my youngest ukulele friends, but I've known her since one of the first days that I was playing when I actually could play. We used to do a online jam where a bunch of us would get together and play music. And Tina, I think you were there the first time I actually sang a song in front of someone else.
I think I was.
Yeah, which was terrifying. And, here we are 5 years later, and
we can't get you to shut up.
That's hurtful. And now I'm doing it for a living. And, okay, so tell us who you are.
Sure. Well, hi. So my name's Tina. I just moved back to the States. I've spent the last year working and living in Western Mongolia.
With yaks.
With yaks.
It's been a yak rider for a year.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy ride. And now I'm visiting Michael in Bermuda for a couple days, and then I'm moving to London in 2 weeks to work with international students and hopefully, get a career and be an adult.
A career in what?
In
international studenting.
In higher education, I guess, working with international students.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
And where were you before that?
Before Mongolia?
Yes.
I spent 3 years in Germany where I was going to school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So she's fluent in German.
Yes, I am.
So anyone out there listening, she's single. She's not looking for a boyfriend, but, if you're cute and German, she might be persuaded to let you take her out for dinner. You're not getting anything, but but she's always up for a free meal, especially if it's milk.
German.
And speaking German. All right, so here we go.
Okay.
So this is my best advice, and I want to find out what advice has helped people in their lives, both because I think it's an interesting thing to talk about, but also because, I need all the help I can get. So I figure if people give me their advice, I'll be able to apply it to my own life. I'm being completely and utterly selfish. That makes me happy. So set the scene for us. Tell us who told you your best advice.
Okay.
Who you were, where you were as a person and in the world when you heard this advice.
Okay. So I guess I have two. I have my most memorable piece of advice and probably my most useful piece of advice.
That's good.
So my most memorable piece of advice I got from my mom. It's actually the first thing that I ever recall my mom sitting me down and teaching me, even before, look both ways when crossing the street.
Wow.
Don't put your hand on top of an oven or you'll burn yourself. Before any of that, this was the first thing that I can remember my mom teaching me.
And how old were you?
I must have been about 5 or 6.
Wow.
I think. But I think I was so young that this story...
So she waited until you were 5 or 6 to tell you not to touch an oven?
No, I don't think she did. But I think, 5 or 6 is the first time that I remember learning about this, but it's just been something that's been told to me so often that it's kind of... I don't remember not knowing about this.
Were you a basement child? Did they just keep you in the basement?
Yes, I lived in the closet.
Okay. So that was, and your mom, you're close to your mom?
Yes, very much so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've never met your mom, but I've seen her on Facebook, and she seems like a totally awesome person.
She's a pretty fabulous lady.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And what was the other advice? I mean, who told you your other advice?
The other piece of advice, my most practical advice, I actually got from a book fairly recently while I was living in Mongolia. And it was just good in the sense that it sort of articulated for me a lot of things that like I knew, but I couldn't really put into words. So, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And who was the book by?
Oh my God. It's Cloud Atlas. Who wrote Cloud Atlas?
Oh, I don't know. I've never read it.
Okay.
I have to hand in my geek cred, I think, my geek card, because I've never read Cloud Atlas.
Oh my God, who's the author? Oh wait, hold on, I can tell you.
Oh, we're gonna pause for Googling.
Can I pull out my Kindle and tell you?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Okay. Okay, searching.
This is the exciting part of the podcast.
David Mitchell.
David Mitchell.
David Mitchell.
Not David Mitchell, the comedian
No.
from QI and
It's not a very funny book.
various other places. Cool. All right, so let's start with the first advice.
Okay.
What was the first advice?
The most memorable piece of advice. Okay, so my mom and her family are of Portuguese descent, but they're from Angola. So the first thing that I remember my mom ever teaching me was, if you shoot a lion, make sure that you throw your hat at it, because it will play dead, and then if you get too close, it will jump up and maul you. So you should throw a hat at it to make sure it's actually dead.
So you throw the hat out after.
Yeah, so apparently...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like you throw the hat at it, it plays dead. That like there would be no lions left if it worked the other way around, because it would be like, oh, I'm just going to throw a hat at the lion. It'll lie there so I can shoot it.
No, other way around.
So you shoot it first, and then you throw the hat at it in case it's playing dead.
So apparently you can't go lion hunting unless you're wearing a hat.
Oh, okay.
And then once you shoot the lion, to make sure it's actually dead and not just pretending to be dead so it can jump up and kill you, you have to take your hat off and throw your hat at it.
Was that horrible dentist that shot Cecil?
Oh.
Was he wearing a hat?
You know what? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, they just sort of kind of held the lion down while they shot him.
Probably,
it feels like. So that's remarkably good advice. Not
right?
terribly... Well, actually, for those of you that don't know, I occasionally, and have for about 15 years, worked with my father in our gallery, the Christian Hine Fine Art Gallery in Bermuda, or African Gallery in Bermuda, and we do go to Zimbabwe, and I've actually walked with lions. So this is actually good advice in case I get in trouble. I will always wear a hat when I go to Zimbabwe from here on.
Did you know that lions will play dead?
I did not. I do know that if you're patting a lion and you're me, that it will roll over onto its back, lock its claws into your knee, and start chewing on it.
That's
every lion that I've ever played
adorable.
with has been like on my knee, and I learned that you just have to hit them, and it's like, I'm not hitting a cat.
Well, you can throw your hat at it.
And now I can throw my hat at it.
There you go.
Because it will play dead.
Exactly.
Or something.
And so, like, when I was a kid, I just took this advice at face value. I was like, oh, okay, if I ever kill a lion, I'll just throw a hat at it. And then when I got a little older, I was like, maybe this is some weird Portuguese Angolan thing for, like, if you do something, do it 100%. And then I got a little older and talked to my mom some more and realized, no, it was if you shoot a lion,
literally, if you shoot,
you should throw something at it.
There's no metaphor involved.
No, not at all.
The Portuguese, are they known for their metaphors? I'll have to ask.
Couldn't tell you.
That's terrifying. It's like the weirdest, most awesome advice I've ever heard. If you're going to shoot a lion, if you have to shoot a lion, make sure you throw your hat at it afterwards.
And then my next question was, well, do you know anybody who did not throw their hat at the lion? And my mom was like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, what happened? He got very badly mauled. So like, oh. All right. Well.
Jesus.
Because then they wait till you get close, and then they're like, pounce on you.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, now you know.
But it's awesome.
I mean, I've never shot a lion, so I can't speak to the truth of this, but my mom's got pictures of her and her brothers. They're like 4, and they're sitting on dead lions, and dead
It's terrible.
African
Well,
buffalo.
we should say that your mother is of an age where, at the time, it was more acceptable because there were more lions.
Also, they just shot them for food, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not the lions.
Lion fritters.
I don't know if you can. But there's
Art Mel's lion sandwich. Wow, that's crazy. Yes, so yes, these dead lions were before feline AIDS, before the lion killer insecticide pretty much demolished the entire population of African lions.
This was in colonial Africa,
Well, your mom's not that old. It's not.
No,
she's not like.
No, but I mean,
she's not like Jane from Tarzan.
No, but I mean, it was still a colony at the time.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean. Not. I don't mean out of Africa, kind of colonial Africa. I mean, it was still a colony of.
Did you know that Jane was actually from Georgia?
Really?
Yeah. You always picture her as this English girl, and she was actually. Was it Georgia or Maryland?
Was she supposed to be a Southern Belle?
Yeah.
Type?
Yeah. Well, a little bit more badass than sort of that, but yeah. So in the movie Greystoke, what's her face that played her? She was overdubbed by Glenn Close because her accent was too Southern, and yet that was actually would have been legit.
Huh.
Well, now that we've learned about how to kill a lion, not the advice I was expecting for my first show, the first piece of advice, but you never know. It might come in handy at some point in your life.
If we can save one person from being mauled by a lion.
if one person is saved by this show, it will be from that advice. I can feel it. 20 years from now, we're going to get an email that says, "Dear Mike, you saved my child's life because we got attacked by lions, by mutant mecha lions with laser eyes. And I shot it, and I remembered your advice, and I threw my hat at it, and it wasn't dead, and so I had to shoot it again." So there we are. That's the advice we have for you to start off with. Wow.
You're welcome.
So, holy crap. So what was the advice you got from Cloud Atlas? Now, Cloud Atlas, is it as long and interminable as it feels that it should be when I read about it?
You mean the
book?
No, I really like the book, actually. I watched the movie first, and then I got the book afterwards, and I was reading it in Mongolian, and I actually really liked it. Better than the movie.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a 6-hour flight on Thursday, 6.5-hour flight, and then a drive. I should probably download it. How long do you think it'll take me to read? 6.5 weeks.
Are you
I'm a fast reader.
Yeah, you can read it in that time. It's not that long.
The movie apparently is 9 hours long.
Yeah. The movie is really long. I really like the movie, though, as well. But I can't just watch it in one sitting. But the book is a fairly short thing.
Okay, I'll get it on my Kindle.
Yeah, got you covered.
There we are. So what was the advice that... now, who in the book gave the advice?
Oh, God, I can't remember.
You just remember the line of it? Okay, what was the advice?
Okay, so the advice was... So I move abroad a lot. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of something that I do. I moved from the U.S. to Germany to Mongolia to back to the U.S. Now I'm going to London.
And you were in Mexico, too.
And then in between, I was doing shorter stints in Mexico and Bolivia, and so I've just sort of been all over the place. And people are always like, why? Why can't you just be like everybody else and be content in one place? And I could never really articulate why.
Well, you could, because I know you, and I know that there would be swear words involved. It was
Exactly.
me. Why can't I stay in one place? Because...
Exactly. But, so, when I was reading this book, one of the characters says to another character, I don't remember the exact context, but he says, do what you can't not do.
Do what you can't not do.
Which is really simple.
Whoa.
But that's what I said. And I was like, wow, that just sort of really articulates a lot of things. well, why do you have to move to Mongolia, Tina? And I was like, well, because I can't not move to Mongolia. So that one has been a lot more applicable, especially in, like, you know, the weeks leading up to a move. I'm like a hot mess. I, like, go back and forth between being really excited to move and really not excited to move and not wanting to go at all. And then, you know, in those moments where I'm like, I don't even want to go anymore, I'm just like, well, I can't not go. So I have to go.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's just...
Right? It's so simple. And yet...
Do what you can't not do. I like that.
Yep.
That's insane. That's so cool. This show is brought to you by Grand Northern Events, and coming up is the Grand Southern Ukulele Festival on October 9th to the 11th at the King's Theatre in Portsmouth. I will be performing there. I'm one of the headliners alongside Aldrin Guerrero and Victoria Vox. I'm very, very pleased and honored to be there. But also playing there will be Ben Rouse, Phil Dolman, Ukulele Zaza, Vixen and her Mischiefs, the Mother Ukers, my boy Crabbers, who I can't wait to see, the Mersey Bells, my darlings, Dead Man's Uke, my other darlings. I love Tim and Jake. You're gonna come.
Well, probably now that I'm moving to London, yes. I don't really have an excuse not to.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to come down. Jono and the Uke Dealers, who I haven't met yet, but I hear very, very good things about. Michael Adcock, my boy. Michael is my ukulele nephew. Don't ask, it's a very strange thing. Tricity Vogue, who I adore. Joe Black is the MC. But also we've got Seb Alway, Francesco Albertazzi, which I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm going to be playing in Greece with him, and I'll have a whole week to learn how to pronounce his last name. Peter Moss, Chalk and Fenkel, Les and Tim. I love those people. We did a gig in Wigan with them, and it was phenomenal. Liam Capper-Starr, my dear boy. He's a gorgeous man. Rhea Lena, Lord Hicks, and Nikisha Esnard, who are three acts that I haven't met yet. I've seen their stuff on Facebook and YouTube, and they're fantastic. So that's the Grand Southern Ukulele Festival on October 9th through the 11th at the King's Theatre in Portsmouth. If you're listening, I hope to see you there. It's going to be phenomenal. Aldrin Guerrero and Victoria Vox. How do you get better than that? And then there's some guy in the middle who, you know, is from Bermuda or something. So. Say it again.
Say what again?
The advice.
Oh, do what you can't not do.
Do what you can't not do. That's amazing. That sums it up, because one of the important pieces of advice in my life is, you know, find what you love, do that, and you'll never work another day in your life.
Yeah.
Yours is better. That's a better advice, because it's true. One thing that I've found in the past few years since I've been playing the ukulele and doing it as a professional or an unprofessional is that, just find what you love, and stuff works out. You know, we all freak out, like you know, oh my God, I don't want to do this. There were a couple of times this summer that I was like, screw it, I'm going to go get a job in reinsurance, which would be the worst thing I could ever do. I cannot imagine working a 9-to-5 job. And Tina's you've been down here for 4 days, mm-hmm. And you've seen, like, I work harder than I would in a 9-to-5 job.
But you do it in...
But I do it in my own time. But I also, you know, during the day, I'm, you know, on Facebook, I'm doing posters, I'm doing promotions, I'm talking to people, I'm booking gigs. You said it last night so beautifully, and it made me feel really good, how much I have to hustle.
Yeah.
And I don't... Yeah, I'm working more hours, and I'm working harder than I would at a regular job.
Yeah.
And I don't care. And I love it. And I'm going to write down, do what you can't not do.
Because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't be you.
Yeah. And that's, like, that might actually get tattooed to me. That is some of the best. I have a feeling that with this show, I might just end up being covered in quotes. because that is
there are worse things to be covered in.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you're taking this on board, because one of the things that my dad taught me as a kid is that you got to have adventures.
Yeah.
And I love following you. Your blog is
Kulturschockt. So
Culture Shocked with a K.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And no E. KULTURSCHOCKED.wordpress.com.
And it's fantastic. Tina is a brilliant writer, and she writes these. It's just a journal, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just sort of like a travel journal, just documenting the ridiculous things that happen to me / the ridiculous stuff I get myself into, which is a lot of stuff.
And it's one of, it truly is, and I'm not saying that just because she's here and a guest and she can punch me, but it really is one of the most pleasant and fun sort of journal blogs that I've ever read. It certainly is one of the ones that I read regularly. Whenever you put up a thing, and it's absolutely hilarious. So do check that out. I'm not going to try to say it because my German accent is atrocious, unless I'm making fun of Germans. But do check it out. I will try to put the link in the links below. It'll be on when I put it on my blog, and I'll try to get the links up there. But if not, rewind back to where she spelled it out, and do go read it. It's absolutely brilliant. So what would you like to do with this advice? How has this advice helped you with the freaking out?
Yeah, I think it's been really good in sort of justifying to myself why I do the things I do and why I have to keep, going abroad, because I know that if I don't do it, that I will look back on it in a couple years and just wonder how different my life would have been if I had just been brave enough to, take that step. So it's been really good in sort of justifying it to myself, because sometimes, even I'm just like, why am I doing this? Who thought moving to Western Mongolia was a good idea? No
one in the world thought that was a good idea, but
it was a great idea.
Exactly. No one thought it was a good idea. Like all of us, all of your friends, us lot that sort of are your kind of a secret sort of cadre of people that are like, you're being an idiot, stop it.
Which is exactly why I did it.
Yeah.
I looked at a map and I was just like, what is the worst possible idea that I could have right now? God, Mongolia sounds like a terrible plan. I believe I shall do it.
It's wonderful. And now, have you had any regrets from this advice, or from following this dream?
I think the hardest part of just being so far away, being in Europe was far, but it didn't feel quite so far. Mongolia, just even with the internet and Skype and all these wonderful technologies that help keep us so closely connected, it just felt so much farther.
Yeah.
And it was hard, missing weddings and missing births and deaths and big things happening in people's lives. And that was really hard. But I think this advice has been really useful in sort of, I guess, justifying this investment in my own personal story. And that if I continue to invest in my personal story, that, at the end of my life, I can look back on it and be happy with it.
That's amazing. Yeah, so when your life flashes before your eyes,
there will be a lot of very interesting flashes.
It'll be like it'll be so long. Death will be sitting there in his robe with the sigh that's like sitting there. Can you hurry it up, please? Like, hold on. I'm in Mongolia. Wait. No, wait. Hold on.
I'm only in my 20s.
I've still got a ways to go. Screw it. I'll be back. Let me know when you're done. Here's my pager. I don't know why.
Death uses a pager?
I think he would. I think Death would use a pager. I think he would have just gotten it, so he'd be totally proud. He'd be like, dude, I've got a pager number. Here you go.
Meanwhile, we were using direct mind to mind.
Exactly. We've got a cell phone in our ear, as an earring. And it'll just be like a really douchey earring too.
Exactly.
Like it won't even be a cool earring.
With like a fang.
Yeah.
Like a tooth hanging from it.
With a feather for an antenna. So we'll all look like some weird long-haired dude that does yoga.
Yes.
I don't know.
That is exactly how I want to look at the end of my life.
Exactly.
Aging death.
That's one of my goals in life is to be Coach from Survivor. A guy who does fake yoga and fake Tai Chi and just sort of stretches and goes, oh. He's in touch with his inner self. Oh, goodness. Well, that's, is there anything else? I'm still, my brain is blown.
Right? It's so simple, and yet when it comes, you're just like, wow. At least that's how it was for me. I just sat there in my room in Mongolia and reread it like 6 times, and I was like, I can't believe that this short sentence has just summed up so much of myself. It
really is. It's sort of for me, it's an amalgamation of all the amazing advice that has struck me the most. One of my favorites is the Mark Twain advice. In 20 years, you'll regret the stuff that you didn't do more than the stuff that you did do.
Yeah.
So it's like cast off the bow lines and set course. Get out there and explore and discover.
Yeah.
Do what you can't not do just really sums that up.
Yeah, it's just a different way of saying do what you can't not do.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Wow, that's amazing.
We can get matching tattoos.
Yeah, we should. Do what you can't not do. That's 6 letters. That's good. 6 is my lucky number. I always try to get, when I do tattoos, I always try to get an even number of something. And if I can get it at 6, it's even better. Like,
there you go.
I think the tattoo on my neck is 6, all told. So that's perfect.
Except I'm scared of needles and decisions I can't change.
Oh, tattoos are easy. Tattoos
will
are
probably not be happening, but I'll go with you when you get the tattoo.
Do that. That would be kind of awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for listening in. Anything that you'd like to plug? No, just if you're in England, Tina is awesome. Right? Say your full name because I don't want to insult you by mispronouncing it.
TinaMarieJoaquim.
You were so cute when you say your name. You say the game.
TinaMarieJoaquim.
It's so cool. Because the thing with Tina is, I've known her for a long time, but most of the time, I think the vast majority of it is on Facebook, is through text. And I know how to pronounce your last name, but I didn't know how cute it was. So that's a weird thing. I might have to talk about that later.
No one can ever say it. Ever.
Joaquim.
Ever.
Is that right?
No.
What is it?
Joaquim.
Joaquim.
And even I know if there are actual Portuguese speakers listening, they're probably like...
Because in Bermuda, it's Joaquim.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I went to school with a guy named Joaquim. So if you're in the UK and you come across this adorable, adorable young lady with dark hair, with a adorable New Jersey accent that isn't really a New Jersey accent, do be friends with her. And come see us at the Grand Southern Ukulele Festival. If you're a ukulele player, it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're not a ukulele player, it's still going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Aldrine and Victoria do a fantastic show, as do everyone that I've seen on here. It's phenomenal. And don't forget that this show is brought to you by Mims Ukes. That's mimsukes.com. She is one of my sponsors, along with Moku Ukuleles. She is where I buy all my ukuleles from. She does the best setups. She's one of the best people that I know. And
she's got great hair.
She's got great hair. I wonder what it'll be when I see her next. I'm going to be seeing her at the T-Bug. I know. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. It's been a lot of fun, and I think it's been a pretty good first show. I'm really happy. We got 30 seconds left for the 30-minute mark, so I'm just going to keep babbling nonsense. If you're interested in ukuleles, do go to mimsukes.com. You will not regret it. She is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for listening so much. And do me a favor, and today and tomorrow, do something amazing for another person. It'll make you feel pretty damn good about yourselves. This has been My Best Advice. I'm Mike. This is Tina. Thank you.